following podcast may contain some adult language. You've been warned.
Those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd-Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds-International. With the hyphen.
Welcome to Finding the Narrative, a Genesys RPG podcast. This is a show dedicated to the Genesys role-playing system from Fantasy Flight Games. A show in which we, your hosts, discuss all things Genesys from both a player's and a GM's perspective. I am Tony Fanning, and with me as always are my co-hosts extraordinaire, Chris Holmes and Stefan Dragonspawn. How are we doing, fellas? Stefan, I'm going to start with you today, buddy.
Thank you. I'm doing pretty well, considering this is the fourth day we've been at the con, and now we're having some fun.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, I'm on bed with Stefan, so I'm doing great.
We're sharing a bed.
That's right. We're sharing a bed as we're doing this podcast live in our hotel room, Tony's and mine, and our special guest.
Oh, yes. Someone who doesn't need a tremendous amount of introduction. My son, Sean, has joined us for our podcast today. How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing good.
How's you liking the con?
Fun. Loads of fun.
Yeah?
Good.
What do you think of your fellow nerds Congos?
Finally glad to meet you guys.
Good. And how crazy are they? Not us, but they.
Some of them are a little crazy.
Dude, you're being too kind. They're
A little.
freaking nuts.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of drunken shenanigans. I've been through an entire bottle of maple-flavored whiskey over the last couple of days.
Thanks to Daryl.
Yep. Well, we helped a little bit, but not so much.
So I wanted to talk about our Genesys games that we've had this weekend thus far. I still have my Star Wars game yet today to run, and I have one of our listeners. A shout out to Joe Gill. Woohoo!
Woo! Joe, I'm sorry. I apologize. I think when we were splitting up last night, I called you John. Sorry.
That was Fireball talking.
That was Fireball talk. That was completely the Fireball talk. Looking forward to you joining us in the Star Wars game today.
Yes,
but you'll hear it probably in a couple days, so time warp.
So we'll assume there was a nice game that we had with you, and you had fun, and
You survived it.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Yeah, so the Genesys games, both you ran, Tony.
Yeah, but you guys
Frickin'
got to
amazing.
play in all of them.
Well,
so.
freaking amazing, dude. Those were... where do we start? I have no idea. If you do go on our MeWe chat, I happen to have took a picture of the two despairs that Tony banked during one of the games.
Right,
and,
right.
Yeah, yep.
Well, let's start
So-
with the first game that you ran.
First game.
Okay, so Shadow of the Beanstalk, I ran an adventure that I called the Chrysalis Crisis, which takes place coincidental with the adventure that I ran for the RPG Brewery show, or the Brewery show now, called 48 Hours Till Midnight.
Right.
So, what'd you guys think?
Actually, I wasn't in that one.
Oh, that's right, you were running your own thing.
I don't think
You were running your own
so.
thing. Well, playing in 48 Hours to Midnight,
Right.
loving the tie-in. That was great. And I played Raj Dish, a hacker, a runner. Clone runner. Wanted to do the whole net, hacking a net and such like that. Pretty fun. Pretty cool. That was pretty intense. I liked it.
Yeah, I played Pandora, a almost full conversion cyborg, who had a really big gun and loved shooting things.
That was a great character. You created that pre-gen.
I did make her with the intention of me playing her, and she was rather fun to play.
Yeah, so a couple weeks before the con, about 4 weeks ago, I had some of my normal players, Chris and my son Sean and my buddy Dave and Daryl. We all sat down and we did a character creation session where these guys came and helped me make my pre-gens, and then I just kind of tweaked them afterwards.
Yeah.
Not a heck of a lot of tweaks, just enough to put some balance in there. And then we did that for both con games. So we did it 1 week, we did it for my Chrysalis Crisis game, and then the next week we did it for my Primordial Machina game.
Yep. Now, I created Vinny the Duck with the intention of myself playing him, because I was able to get all the frickin' Gmods just about for him. And with that what do you call it? That mechanic, spend and strain to add a little bit of success. There was a lot there, but kudos to Harrison, who's only played Genesis once, nailed Vinny.
Oh yeah,
for sure, man.
He played it so good.
So Vinny's favor is that he signed a 10-year contract to wear a like a GoPro, but it's a cybernetic GoPro.
Mm-hmm. I think I had it built into his glasses.
Yep. For NBN, and so he had his own show. I can't even remember what's I can't remember the name of the show, but Harrison was having a great time playing the guy. He was constantly spending strain to do his Gmods.
Yeah, he got all that.
He was skirting the edge of the strain threshold, which was amazing. But then every time he got advantage, he was just like, I'm just going to kill a couple of those 2 strain. So that was really, really a good mechanic that I think they kind of... The Gmods, I never realized just how much fun those can be until you really put them all into play.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, Chris, for making a character that had almost all the Gmods in the book.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That was fun. He was fun to make too.
But the adventure is a group of mercenaries go into the Chrysalis factory facility to stop a rogue AI that was sending out all the crazy bioroids that tried to kill our characters in the other adventure.
Yep.
And so it had this big climactic ending where the party had their EMP device, and they had a couple rounds to get away from it because Eric Lamoureux, he was playing the...
who was he playing?
Not the face guy. The face guy. The loony face guy. Tooney.
Yep.
He was playing him, and he wanted to make it a little bit adventurous, so he only set a 3-round timer on the freaking bomb, giving everyone only 3 rounds to get to a minimum safe distance of 1 kilometer. So Daryl, being
with 2 of the group having cyber hearts.
Yeah, cyber hearts, which the CMP device would totally shut down and destroy any electronic device, cybernetic device, bioroid, anything within 1 kilometer. So Daryl, being an expert of the system, knows how I am, says, hey, is there an EMP shielded room nearby? And of course I'm like, there can be, holding on to the story points. And he goes, yeah, throw one from the player's pool into the GM's pool. There's totally an EMP shaded room, because he had the schematics for the building. Mm-hmm. And so all they had to do was try to get to this EMP shielded room, just precisely 2 rounds of movement away with bioroids trying to stop them. So it was pretty good. It very climactic ending, and I think everybody liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was really fun.
It really was. Well done, Tony. Woohoo!
Yeah. Now, the second game I ran...
So that was Thursday.
Yeah, it was Thursday.
Thursday afternoon?
Morning.
Morning.
Yeah, Thursday morning.
Right.
Yesterday afternoon, I ran us through Primordial Machina.
Yeah, yesterday morning we did. Yep.
What do you guys think of that? Did it get that Primordial Machina feel for you, Chris?
Oh, hell yeah, man. Yeah, oh yeah. It totally was. I mean, when you laid down that map and threw our characters on that ship,
the airship,
the airship that looked like a freaking dragon. Yeah, man, that was cool. That brought in there, and then your setup, that blurb you have to describe the world, right? Because Gary, he wasn't familiar with it, and I don't think
a few new players.
A couple new players there. You read through it. Colin. Yes, Colin
joined us.
Thank you, Colin. I don't know if you listen to this, but if you do, you rock, dude. And just your setup, I was almost kind of closing my inner eye, just kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of what I picture. Well done. That was really good. Really set it up well.
Stephen, you were in that one.
Yeah, I was. I've listened to your podcast, like when you were talking before I joined the podcast.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
You know you're on it.
It's our podcast.
It's ours now.
That's it, it's our podcast. But before I joined, you started working on that setting. So I remember some of that and just seeing the character sheets, which were really well done with the character portraits and the blurbs on the back.
Cool.
getting into the minds a bit of the characters, and sometimes trying to play off the motivations, different characters, which also helps.
Motivations were key there, too.
Yes,
I think.
some
Yeah,
of them
that
were
helped.
motivations, but yeah, even continuing the story, you felt it, and some of the characters like Sean, his automaton he played it very well, as sort of noble, aristocratic automaton, British accent kind of thing, which is a nice quirk.
The top hat,
Well,
pinky
that's it.
out, drinking your cup of oil.
Exactly, it's not just a typical, I'll play him like C3PO. No, let's play him like a British gentleman. So,
Yeah.
So you played Xandra Cole, the Fire Amalgam
Fire
Gunslinger.
Amalgam Gunslinger.
Was that would that give you that gunslinger feel? Was she kind of?
Yeah, with not just because she's a gunslinger, but she's Fire Amalgam, the fiery personality, her motivations were there as well, carefree and stuff, and maybe not vindictive. What was her? Passionate, or something like that.
Very
So
nice.
definitely, she wants to love and be loved. So and try to be flamboyant, of course. Just playing off of that world. But,
Like you, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know why I gravitated towards that character, but even during my actions, trying to do moves, not just saying, I move from close to short, or from engaged to short. No, I'm just tumbling and leaping on tables, and she's twirling around like you see in movies with the big long coat flowing all around.
Oh, yeah.
So, and shooting her guns off, and being very action oriented, which I thought was pretty
You did a
cool,
great
cinematic.
job with that.
I think you did a great job, Tony, with the backgrounds. I think you tied, so there were 6 characters. You tied 2 of them to kind of kind of paired them up a little bit in pairs. Then you had the overall bringing us into the Golden
Shard Adventuring Company.
Company, which was great to kind of pull us in. I just had to flip over the character and then read it. Colin was playing my other, the other pair, I guess, with it, right? And him and I just kind of worked out just within a moment or so. Just worked out this, and we're like, let's go with it.
I think Colin did a great job playing the undead archaeologist right from the start.
Yes.
He's got this impatient instructor feel about him, where he's just get out of my way. I've got things to do.
Exactly. Or even if he didn't know the whole premise of the setting before that, he got into it. It's like, no, we have researched history here, and this will be my costume for the ball, because we should look back history. This is one of the aspects of one of the ancient Fey gods.
Right. His costume for the ball. So
Yes.
the premise behind the adventure is that the party is invited to the city of Calder, which is a city built in a volcanic caldera that is in a fire manifest zone. But the city is basically run by steampunk Nazis, undead Nazis.
Always a good thing.
But an old friend, or the original founder of the Golden Shard Adventuring Company, has invited them for a masquerade ball. So there's a skill challenge right at the very beginning where everyone has to go find parts and build costumes for the party.
Yeah, because we arrived late, so all the costume shops were places that would help us.
The party was that night. So you guys,
So we're last minute, of course, fashionably late.
Nice.
So we're rushing around, scrounging for stuff, helping each other out. Sometimes, like, okay, I'll throw a boost there, or I find something that could help the other person with their costume as well as mine.
That's right.
And that other person was none other than Nerds-International's own Genesis hater. Just kidding. Gary McCallum. Gare, thanks for playing with us.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure he had a blast.
I think so. He got right into it. He enjoyed the story, he said.
That's
Some of the mechanics. I mean, he had only played it like the one or two times.
He'd only played Star Wars. He'd never played Genesis.
Okay. Yeah. And then
last year he was in my
your
Terranoff
Genesis game.
I'm sorry?
Briefly.
Right.
No, that's okay. Just a small
But
detail.
I mean, again, it only took him just a few dice pools
Yeah.
to put together, and then once that happened, he realized that it's all story oriented. It's about the narrative,
Yeah.
and that's great. I'm
The
glad.
dice are a tool to enable the narrative.
That's it.
Yep.
We talked to him a little bit about what the symbols mean. Tony went through that,
Yep.
and the difficulties, and then we mostly tried to leave him figure it out so he can learn. And
Yeah.
it took a little bit of time, but after a couple of rolls, he was getting it.
So
Yeah, it was.
my favorite
Got
thing
it.
about Gary, the character he was playing, I designed that for one of our listeners. If any one of them had showed up, I had said I had one set aside, but I let Gary play it. And this one was designed to really challenge me as a GM. The player had a built-in signature spell that was a curse that if you look in the curses, there's one of the things that you can add to it that allows you to play with the GM's dice.
Oh my god.
The adversary's dice. And so Gary would put it on the big bad, and I ended up with so many despairs. Oh my god.
Not only did we roll a few despairs, Gary flipped a couple for us.
There was 2 red dice at one point, so one of them came up in despair, and you know what? He flipped the other one to a despair.
Yeah. And I think that was the point where you were going to throw my character out of the dome of the mansion.
Yeah.
And here I'm thinking, so what I was playing Opal Rain, an Earth Amalgam Elementalist, okay? And so spellcaster. And here I'm thinking, he had rolled a despair, or I had rolled a despair, or whatever it was. And I'm thinking, he's checking my character out. Sure hope he lets me use a utility spell to fly. Or else I'm done. Right?
Or land softly.
But then Sean had a great idea how to spend that despair.
You used one to cut off his connection to the magic that he had.
Yes.
And I said, let's use the other one so that he impales himself on the glass ceiling that I had earlier shot at and destroyed.
Instead of throwing him off.
So first of all, what character were you playing, kiddo?
I was playing Old 77, a clockwork scoundrel who considered himself a bit of a fancy guy.
Now this was another character that
This
you
was
made
another
for yourself.
character I made for myself, yes.
That was a nice choice,
Hey,
I must say. And the swirly mustache.
can't be fancy without a swirly mustache.
You're right.
Fancied him a bit of a sharpshooter with his pistol.
Nice.
I
And,
could imagine him twirling his mustache, even though it's just drawn on.
Which was drawn on.
He might sometime. But
What do you think of the sharpshooter? How'd that play?
Pretty fun. I found it really fun.
That one mechanic with how the sharpshooter worked with cover. That was interesting.
my ambush mechanic, yes. That was actually, I found that rather fun to use. The first combat we got in, I used it. I quickly dove behind a statue and used it as cover and just popped out and would shoot at the guy and get a bit of extra damage.
That made our characters very different. He's using cover and just basically sniping, whereas I'm using 2 guns and just being very dramatic and I'm
right out
here.
in the middle.
Dual wielding and using the fan the hammer talent together,
Bang,
which
bang, bang,
was
bang, bang, bang.
amazingly
Oh, yeah.
done. Yes.
And of course, asking for boost dice, even though I had 4 of them already. Because I love the color blue, apparently.
That's right. Well, you had your mitt full of dice. There were 4 blue dice. I'm like, hey, Stephanie,
Maybe I should ask for boost dice.
you should ask for.
I was looking, I hesitated, like, yeah, sure, why not?
So as a little thing that I did at the end, okay, so originally I had this monster design. I had reskinned the Amahel and Scion from the books, reskinned it to be kind of a older, elder fae, ancient tentacle monstrosity. And I was using one of my miniatures from my Deep Madness game that I kickstarted back, and it's just all tentacles. And while that was cool, when I was walking the marketplace Friday morning, here at the con, Thursday morning, or afternoon, sorry, at the con, I saw a star spawn of Cthulhu. So I quickly retooled my monster that night. I bought that miniature, and when I put that on the table, everybody's like, "Oh shit, Cthulhu! Oh god!"
It took up a lot of space in that room.
Yes, it did.
Big wings.
Very little room.
He was the entire center of the room.
Pretty much.
He was.
The bat wings and the tentacle head. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was tons of fun.
You get somebody to paint that damn thing? Holy crap!
Yeah, I
man,
may
that
hire
would
my
be
buddy
nice.
Zach to do that. Yeah, so
That'd be
yeah.
a sweet mini.
All right.
Sweet mini. That was great. I mean, that story was really fun to play. It was different. It wasn't really a whole lot of. There was a bit of combat, of course, at the end, but just to lead up to it, the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Really drew us
Social
in.
encounter to start with the
Yeah.
the customs inspectors.
Yep.
So there's social encounter to start, which we kind of freeformed. We didn't do like a full social encounter,
No.
but then we had the kind of investigative travel through the city, where everyone's trying to pick up clues as to what is going on and why everyone's so
we're being harassed
touchy.
and
on edge. And
Which we didn't
That set
really
a tone.
get fully into it, but there were terrorists attacking the city.
but it did set
no
a
one
tone
ever found
for
out who the terrorists were, but which eventually came into play at the very end when she announced who the terrorists finally said what organization she was with.
Oh yeah. Which was the organization my character and Colin's character were kind of running away from.
Yeah, on the run from.
On a run from. We're like, all right, well, this is it. That was a nice tie-in. That was good.
And what I like is that at the end is like the last 2 initiative slots could have been either me or Gary, and Tony made the great decision like let Gary finish off the bad guy.
Yeah.
I almost hesitated like, I'll take the next 2 initiatives. No, let's give it to Tony
Or Gary, yeah.
Gary, sorry, and let him do the big finale of.
Well, we play together all the time, and Gary's it was really Gary's chance to shine.
Yep.
Very cool.
I had my moment, so that.
You had a great moment in the party down below where you were on the table and fanning the hammer and shooting both guns, and everybody in the room was just like, holy shit, she's a badass gunslinger.
I was just looking at the talents. I can combine this and wrap it. So quick draw, fan the hammer, and a few others. Like, I can use all of these together, and my guns are accurate. So there you go.
I honestly think
bang,
Daryl
bang.
made that character for you.
Yeah.
Your best friend, he knows you pretty well.
No, exactly.
One of the things I think, just thinking about like that party, you had a costume contest at the party, and the way that you resolved it was great. I mean, first off, you gave us boost dice on specific skills because we succeeded at that skill challenge. Mm-hmm. But the way you had us resolve who got first, second, third place, you just had us do a simple check linked to our main skill
With no difficulty.
with no difficulty, and whoever got the most successes and advantage.
It was just a competitive check.
Yeah,
and with
yeah, the
competitive check, you
checks.
don't need difficulty in there to rule.
Yeah, that was great. That was it was a good place to put it. It was great. It was good.
And it was 300 gold crowns to he who won the costume.
That's right.
Colin won it with his huge ass roll. He had like 7 successes and 5 advantage.
I
think you had 3.
I thought
3 or 4, right?
Yeah, and a triumph, or maybe not. Anyway, I thought, I'm ahead. So I'll probably win. And then Colin says, no, it's mine.
6
I got all the
successes and 15 advantage.
Yeah, so he's got all
Just about
all the advantages. So.
all the advantages. It was a lot.
It was a lot, but yeah. So those were my games, and there've been other games played at the con. We played Starfinder last night. Chris ran for us.
What'd you guys think of that?
That was really fun. At first, I was a little hesitant with it because, one, it's a reskin of Pathfinder that can be a little tricky sometimes. And the enemies we were facing were a little tougher, and they hurt us a lot.
That's Chris's dice rolling. He's a killer GM.
I'm noticing that.
GM.
Well,
because it's not Dungeons and Dragons.
It's not Dungeons and Dragons.
But as we went further into it and we reached closer towards the end, I found it to be a lot of fun, and it was enjoyable.
Good. Yeah, it was. I think it's enough of a reskinning. It's different enough from Pathfinder. Feels a little fresh. What do you think, though?
I got to play the old Boogie Bear. I got no problem playing Boogie Bear. Yeah. So I played an uplifted bear soldier, and I made him a bit of a redneck. And I even played country music while playing, and I hate country music, so that's definite role playing right there.
You sacrificed a bit of your soul there.
I had a great time playing it. I knew I was going to enjoy playing in your game anyway because I played in your games before.
Thanks.
But Starfinder wasn't bad. D20, again, it felt like a old school, picking up a D20, rolling it.
Yeah,
didn't hurt. Mm-hmm. It kind of stretched some old tendons that hadn't been stretched.
Yep.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
And poor Stefan.
Well,
my first roll was a crit on you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I joined last minute. I was like, oh yeah, sure. So spent a little time before the game creating my character. Went through the books.
How was that? How was character creation? None of you guys created, but you created yesterday.
Well, I've been familiar with the D20 since 3rd edition and then Pathfinder. I have to admit it's not my favorite system. I enjoyed it because I've put my character in some life into the character, obviously, and some good interaction. But I find the system, I don't know, just character creation. You have your race, then you choose your class, your theme, and then even with the class, you have to choose another specialization within it, which I had forgotten. So I chose
that's
Ghost.
true. You did. That's right.
All these other little things to round out your character, kind of thing. Then you have your skill points. Then all the other bonuses in the gear. I don't know.
It's not Genesis, man.
I know it's not Genesis.
We know it's not.
I'm not comparing it to Genesis either.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's maybe too many fiddly bits.
Yeah.
For me.
Analysis paralysis can be a real big thing.
does.
You ended up playing a half orc, but and you never even touched all 3 of the alien archives. There's like 4,500 playable races in this game.
I didn't want to get too much into it because I'm, just one for the
one shot. Yep.
I mean, just stick to something fairly basic with the core book. I'll be fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Some of the other players did touch on those books, so that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went for one of the newer ones. I went for one of the in Alien Archive 3. I played a Shimreen, a crystal guy.
That's right.
And it was this is one of the characters I've actually gotten a little more into, and I decided to use my the inspiration of my voice for him was from Korg from Thor Ragnarok,
Right.
and it was a lot of fun.
Well, you're a rock guy, right?
I got I got your 6, boss.
That was great. And
Daryl.
Daryl.
We all look at each other at the same moment because we immediately all think of Daryl.
Oh,
Daryl played a Technomancer gray alien. It's just a gray.
Mm-hmm.
And they're little gray dudes, the gray aliens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the Marvin the Martian voice for him.
Combination of Martian the Martian and
Roger from
from
American Dad.
American Dad.
Yeah, it's got the perverted nature of Roger, and then
But
the voice of Marvin, and oh my God, Daryl
nailed it.
fucking had me pissing my pants laughing so hard. Now the alcohol helped, but Daryl
he stayed in that voice the entire time.
Yeah.
And it was just great.
and then
Even when the GM's not talking to him, he's turning to me and talking. Oh, I think he's going to. I don't know what he said. But with the voice, it's like, oh no, God.
I know.
then the crate hit him when the fridge exploded. The crate. He's like, "Can I say that the
Bit of
crate was full of
narrative,
lingerie?" And Chris is like, "Sure." He's like, "I'm tucking it into my uniform."
I'm taking a few pieces. I'm like, all right, dude. Whatever.
And then we had Matt Stark playing a space goblin in War, and that was hilarious because he's just kit bashing everything. And at the end of it all, somebody walks up and hands him grenades.
And detonators.
And detonators, and he's just like, his eyes get huge.
He's like, this will not end well.
Well, I randomly rolled who would be given that stuff, but in hindsight, I just should have picked him off the start. I'm glad I did.
Right.
She's like, yeah, that man, it's great. You guys got to cross the bridge before we detonated it and all this. Here's some grenades. And he's like, all right.
Just so she can show up later and go, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.
As things are on fire and blowing up.
We did have a bit of a funny moment with Boogie Bear having to carry the gray and the goblin.
Yeah, I carried him like a couple of toddlers in my arms as we were running.
Right, because I had one of the things. So one of the things I was playing while I was running Attack of the Swarm. It was an adventure path for a Starfighter, their new one. Basically, Starship Troopers. I mean, and that was the feel that I want to kind of get across. That they're running away from this horde of swarms, and a couple of them were just exhausted, couldn't go on, and the 2 small characters.
Yeah,
and then Tony looks at me. He's like, "Well, how much do they weigh?" And I'm like, "Well, what would a bulk of a small
basically
creature be?"
halfling size.
And I'm like, "Sure, man. Bulk 2, bulk 3. Can you fit it?" Yeah, I'll grab them both. Starts running. I'm like, whatever. In that moment, rule of cool, baby.
Yeah,
keep
just
going.
go with it.
It ended up just being Boogie and my character Torch.
Because you had to carry the half
I was
orc.
carrying the half orc for a bit.
Roll again. It's like, no, he's exhausted.
Well, if it would have been your character was like 750 pounds because you're all glass.
Yeah, nobody could have carried your ass.
You would have just been
Sorry.
You'd have been like worm or bug
They
food.
might have confused me for just the crystal sticking out of the ground.
There you go. Could have been. But yeah, all right. So that was. The
How'd your tiny dungeon go, Stefan?
Yeah,
That was pretty cool. Tiny Dungeon is a minimalist rule system. Tiny D6 is sort of they're generic, and they have Tiny Dungeon specifically for fantasy.
Okay.
And I subscribed a couple of months ago to something called Dungeon in a Box, which is pretty cool. Every month you get a box, and it's a sequence of modules that follow each other. So I ran the first box, Cavern of Peril. It's usually written for 5e, but it's really simple to reskin it to simple creatures for tiny dungeons. So I used wargs for wolves, an ogre or troll for an ogre instead, and just remove some abilities.
Cool.
Went pretty well. The guys grunt the mechanics because it's all really simple. Just 2d6 normally. If you have advantage, 3d6. If you have disadvantage, 1d6. And if you get a 4 or 5, that's a success.
Okay.
And I just use the house rule, the optional rule. If you roll 2 6s or more, critical.
Nice.
More
Nice.
damage, and
That's
it's just
cool.
you always do 1 point of damage no matter what the weapon is. So
Very cool.
very
Nice.
simple, and things don't have tons of hit points, like maybe 5, 6, 8 hit points, 12 maybe for the big ogre at the end, but he's not that skilled, he's dumb.
There you go.
So no, everyone had some great fun, and they won.
Awesome. That's right.
Though they had to fight a werewolf, even though they're like beginning characters. But luckily, the werewolf goblin was sitting on a treasure which had some silverware, and they were using candelabras and dishes to finally whittle him down. But their own weapons, like, oh, this is not working.
Nice.
Kind of fun.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice.
Oh, and Matt Stark was also playing in my game, and he was using his mount. He was using the chivalrous knight character who has a mount companion. The mount he named Hippopotamus, which was the joke was that the actual character is Hippopotamus, the horse, and the knight is just a sidekick because he was rolling so much, so like skidding, almost like sliding and throwing the knight into the bad guy, doing all these stunts. So he was using his mount very well.
So the horse was the hero.
Pretty much in some cases, definitely, almost like drifting. Like, oh, okay, I'll use my horse to drift and then ram into the ogre. All right, that works.
That's a very Matt Stark play. Yeah.
There we go. I told him, all right, roll a standard check. You succeed. There you go. Boom.
Awesome.
Well done. Well done. Well, we still got 2 more days of con. So today,
That's right.
we got Star Wars from 3 to 7 p.m. Like I said, Joe Gill's going to join us. Colin's going to join us. I got
Commander.
3 of you in it. And let's see, Daryl and Matt.
And then tonight we have Warhammer.
Yes. Were you guys gonna make some characters?
4th edition.
All of you, everybody, gonna make characters for Warhammer tonight. We're gonna
Roll them randomly.
We'll roll them randomly. You guys can cherry pick. We're gonna go through character creation for that, and then I've got a little adventure that was created back in one of the first ones, back in like 1st or 2nd edition, probably back from 1989, that they've reskinned for this. So, kind of a throwback to it, and we'll see how far we get. And more than anything, just introducing you guys to the system, because I think it's a really slick, well done system. I think
Excellent.
the upgrade for that.
We also played other games on that.
Some board games.
Card games, board games, Spank the Yeti, Choking Hazard.
Choking Hazard.
Out of all the
a few other
new games you've played this year, which one was your favorite? New games. Board games, card games.
Which one was the new one? Spank the Yeti, we had tried. Choking Hazard as well last year.
I did Hero Realms. That was
pretty cool.
Hero Realms is my favorite
It is?
card game. I had a lot of fun playing
Elder
that.
Sign. We played Elder Sign.
Elder Sign was my favorite.
We played two,
That was my
yeah.
favorite.
That was definitely, we played off each other, which was nice.
Oh,
and
yeah.
also played Heroes of Tyrannoth yesterday.
And I had a blast with that. I think
That
that
was
was
good.
my favorite. Just
Yeah.
the way that
Just got
plays
one
out.
rule wrong, but if we play it again, now we'll know
figure it
more.
out.
Yeah, we might go out and play a couple games
Yeah, I
this
brought the
morning.
game.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Another one that we all had a lot of fun playing.
Oh,
Epic
God.
Spell Wars.
Oh yes, of course.
I brought
Yes.
the perverted version of Epic Spell Wars, which has magically transmitted diseases in it.
Yes.
MTDs.
STDs. My favorite one is the crotch krakens. Oh my god. I think
Lots
Chris
of play
loved the
on
genital
words.
harpies.
Yeah, I had all night
for the entire
And
game.
I think for what was the little
There's one that
The
Covenant.
Everlasting.
everlasting? That's right, the everlasting.
So if you love a good perverted party game, that one takes the cake. Spank the Yeti, also Choking Hazard. Those are all great, drunken,
Yeah, they are.
just amazing party
Wrong on
games.
so many
Clap
levels.
Trap. That's another MTG.
Someone killed Matt off.
It
the
could have been
clap
me.
trap.
It was Stefan.
Forced him to pick one of the MTDs, which is in a nice little silken bag that looks, of course, like a ball sack. And you pick that that one, and I had to pick one too, but he picked the wrong one. There we go, done.
That was so funny when you killed him with that.
Yeah.
That was great.
It's
It's Wizard, not Matt. Matt's still alive.
No. It was
Yeah.
his wizard.
Right.
No. You kill characters. You don't kill kill players.
That's right.
After tonight at the con, then tomorrow we're going to go see the Joker.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to have a good time with that. I hear people are getting upset and walking out of theaters.
Oh, great.
Watching it
Really?
because it's so traumatic. So
Great.
that'll be great because I love a good traumatic movie.
That's right. I'll go home on my flight. I'll probably
Twitching.
Good thing
You all
I'm
right,
in first
sir?
class. Yeah, I'll have that. I'll have that rum and I'll have that Jack and Coke and make it a double.
Plenty of room to have your nightmare shakes while you're sleeping on the plane.
That's right.
All right, so the one last thing I wanted to discuss in our show was three hosts sat down yesterday, and we had a long talk about the future of our show. So we've got some interesting things coming down the pipe, and we can tell you guys about them a little bit. So next year, starting
I'm
January...
not being thrown off the show. Sorry.
No. In fact, he's being more included.
Yes. Definitely.
So next year, starting, our format's going to switch up a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Still every 2 weeks.
Still every 2 weeks, but the first of the 2 week cycle, we're going to be doing our normal show content. Then 2 weeks later, we're going to...
Then do an actual play.
Live plays.
So all three of us plus usually an extra guest.
Yep. And we're going to start off the first one with probably our favorite game in Ho, Daryl.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
And then we go back to our regular show content for the second 2 weeks, or the second month. And then...
We're gonna do an interview show with somebody who's put content up on the Genesys Foundry.
Yep. Everybody seemed to love the Keith Capel show, so
Absolutely.
we're probably going to continue to do that.
Yeah. And in this way, we'll be able to stretch out the content that FFG is giving us a plethora of, as sarcasm drips from my lips. But we're going to be getting the expanded players guide, GM screen, and then next year, Keyforge. So there's some stuff coming up, but we wanted to stretch that content out and do a couple different things.
Yeah, we have a few people who've expressed interest in coming on the show. So other than Keith,
Yeah.
we'll ask them and schedule some time.
So if you're a listener, you got something on the Foundry, and you want us to bring you on to talk about your product, and you haven't already told us about it, send us an email, findingthenarrativepodcast at gmail.com, and let us know that you want to come on the show and talk about it. We'll put you on our tentative schedule. Now, mind you, we're only going to get to one person every 2 months. So there's only 6 of you that's going to be gotten in the next year.
Right.
But we'll see if we can fit you in.
Yeah.
Most definitely, yeah, because everything you all are creating, we truly appreciate it. As you can tell from our 50 Pieces of Awesome segment, that's just a way of thanking all of you for your hard work, your love of the system, your love of gaming, and just sharing it with us. And this is another way that we can do it and help you guys out.
Right. So look forward to that starting in 2020. We're going to continue with our upcoming shows. We've got one more of our settings spotlights coming up. Tannhauser. We've got a couple of shows about our new setting that we're doing, Tales of the Epsilon Eclipse, and then I did want to do something here. We don't have an official 50 Pieces of Awesome, but I want to give one out myself. I haven't done it yet. I've been sitting on all my 50 Pieces of Awesome because, well, quite honestly, I'm going to give them to Chris for creating my Genesys characters in GM Binder. They are freaking beautiful. Everyone loved the characters, buddy.
Oh, thanks,
they
man.
looked great. You did a fucking hella job, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So
anytime, man. I enjoy doing those, and they do look pretty awesome, don't they? Holy shit.
They look amazing.
Those character sheets were awesome. They were easy to read. You knew what sections to look in for your information you needed. And a few little mistakes here and there.
Yeah. Well, I had a couple of mistakes on my character sheet. I know I missed yours, but I think we tweaked that. I liked the layout of it all that we worked through last year when we did them for the
2-page character sheet for the win.
That's right.
Especially for the new players, it was easy for them because the skills already had the icons of green and yellow dice, so they already knew it instead of numbers. So you're trying to figure it out. All right. I have my archery or range skill. All right, it's 3 yellows and a green. There we go.
That's right. When I got it right.
Yeah. And I think
just saying an example.
He missed the agility on all my weapon attack skills, so I had to.
But the other skills were just fine.
Everything else is fine. You just cut my agility down to 3 for all my skills.
For your experience, so you can deal with it.
Figure that out.
I
noticed it right away, and I was like, "Oh, hey, let's fix that."
There we go.
So that's our pretty much it. We're gonna shut down, go into the outro, and we'll get on out of here.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
All right, well, that's our show. Yes, one of our really short ones, but, live from the con here, Con in the Cob. I want to give a shout-out. We want to give a shout-out to all of the nerds on Nerds International. Their blogs, the podcast, the guys showing up. Another shout-out to Joseph. Gil for being here.
Yes, thanks for meeting us, buddy.
Yeah, man, that's great. Drove all the way to Pittsburgh, brought his family.
From Pittsburgh.
From Pittsburgh, and he's, they're having fun today. Yep. And let's see, what do we got, Stefan? What's coming up? Reminders.
We've got in November, Memorial Day? No, not Memorial Day.
Veterans Day weekend.
Veterans Day weekend, the 8th to the 11th. We've got NivCon, the Nerds-International Virtual Con, where we have our website. On MeWe, there's a link to the website. You can register games, sign up for games. All weekend is 24 hours. So depending on your time zone, you can set up games.
I'll have the links in the show notes. You can look at the bottom of the show notes for that.
Yep. You do not have to be a member of Nerds International to play. You do not have to be a member to run a game.
No, you can use any platform you want, whether it's Fantasy Grounds, just Discord, Skype, no VTTs at all. Just use your own honor system. That's fine too.
Yep.
Link will be in the show notes. I'm running Kung Fu Panda on Sunday the 10th.
Skadoosh.
Skadoosh. All right. It's going to be fun. I know Jamie's running the Force Awakens beginner game. He's got some Legion games. I think that's all that's up there now. We really need people to come on and run some games, and I'd love for Genesis to outnumber the Savage World 6-1. So if you guys want to run a game, and you think you want to find the time to do it that weekend, come on.
Yep.
Sign up.
Yep. Yeah, there are plenty of players that'll sign up.
Yep, exactly. Sure. And share your links once you put your game up there. Get the word out and get players to sign on.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so you can contact us at findingthenarrativepodcast@gmail.com. You can get a hold of me and Stefan on Facebook at Finding the Narrative. You can get a hold of just Stefan at FTN_Genesis on Twitter.
Yep.
And we're all, as well as the Nerds International guys, we're all on MeWe as Finding the Narrative and Nerds International. So this is Tony saying, remember to roll them bones.
And this is Stefan saying, don't forget to ask for those boost dice because I don't.
And then this is Chris saying, remember the rule of cool and just have fun.
Thank you, and have a good night.
And Sean, what do you want to say? Fuck you, Tony.
Stay frosty.
There we go.
Which we are.
All right. Adios.
Stop.
Finding the Narrative, a Genesis RPG podcast, is not affiliated with or endorsed by any companies mentioned in this show. Any of the products mentioned on our show or appear on our website are the property and copyright of their respected owners. All items are used under fair use and educational and review purposes. All other items are the intellectual property of Finding the Narrative, a Genesis RPG podcast. Copyright 2019, all rights reserved.